quarterback's knee was down.
Got it! The Aggies win the game of the year!
You're watching college football prime time, presented by Hampton by Hilton. Tonight from Death Valley Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This place is alive as always as number 2 LSU looks to complete its first undefeated and untied regular season since 2011. Just the third in the AP poll era, dating back to 1936. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, delighted to have you with us. We saw those 4 wins in the highlights as we came on the air for LSU against top 10 teams this season. Great resume, but despite that, Ohio State jumped them and went to number 1 this week, a surprise to many.
Yeah, but they proved that they earned that today. Ohio State was awesome. Look, at the end of the day, LSU just wants to be one of those final 4 teams standing after that first weekend in December, but they want to stay close to Ohio State because that number 1 spot is the most coveted spot.
They want to finish this perfect regular season. They want to avenge that controversial and emotional 7 overtime loss to Texas A&M last year in College Station. A&M won the toss and deferred, so they kicked off, and Braden Mann's boot is a touchback. Down on the field with more about last year, here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, the last time these 2 teams met, as you said, Sean, it was a crazy game. The longest in FBS history, the most points scored. So many historic categories were set in that game. In fact, they had to change the overtime rules. It got so crazy. Players we spoke to said they could barely walk off the field. They were exhausted, but the guys are using it as motivation tonight. LSU used it all through the summer. They remember they lost that game, whether it was in conditioning, on the field. They know that they have got a chance at redemption.
That was their last loss. They've won 12 in a row since. Joe Burrow, leading Heisman Trophy candidate, takes off running, gets dragged down along the far sideline. Fans want a flag, and they get one as Justin Matabike ran him down.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 52 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Very first play of the game, they forced Joe Burrow to leave the pocket, and there it is, clearly behind the back of the jersey, pulling down Joe Burrow. It was a very good defensive play, but just a bad result at the end, and penalty on Matabike.
Matt Leffler is the referee leading this SEC crew. LSU trying to make history. They've already punched their ticket to the SEC title game next weekend in Atlanta against Georgia. Very low snap by Lloyd Cushenberry. Here's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's been magnificent, particularly lately. One of the 10 semifinalists for the Doak Walker Award as the best running back in the country. He got just across the 45-yard line. Joe Burrow completing 79% of his passes, just a tick under, comfortably ahead of the FBS record set by Texas's Colt McCoy back in 2006.
Such a different pass offense, Sean. They used to be a lot of max protection. Now they protect with 5, and they release 5 into the route almost exclusively.
Burrow steps up, dumps it off. There's Justin Jefferson across midfield and down at the Aggies 44. Here's tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire has just been so dominant, not as a runner, but also as a receiver. Jamar Chase, part of that trio of great receivers. Matabike and Buddy Johnson paced the way defensively for the Aggies.
Johnson, their leading tackler. Play fake by Burrow, so good at dodging the run and throwing on the run. He's on target to Jamar Chase inside the A&M 15. He leads the country in receiving yards per game, 126 yards per game for Jamar Chase.
Well, 2 times on this drive, A&M's been able to move Joe Burrow off his spot, but he has been cool and kept his eyes downfield.
They get up there very quickly. It didn't look like the Aggies were ready for the snap after the 31 completion. Burrow to Chase. There's Edwards-Helaire down to the 5-yard line, and again the Tigers look to get to the line briskly.
You're right. They caught A&M kind of looking around, trying to get set up. Going to try to go quickly again.
Edwards-Helaire, touchdown. What a start for LSU. Number 1 still in the AP poll. Number 2 in the college football playoff rankings, and Joe Burrow's family enjoys the terrific start for Coach Ed Orgeron.
You wondered if there might be a little rust with the senior day activities. Doesn't look like it.
Burrow, one of 14 seniors honored before the game. He got a huge ovation. Of course, he played here for just 2 years. The starter both of his seasons at LSU. Cade York, the true freshman, kicks the extra point. It's already 7-0.
You know, we talk so much about the receivers in the passing game, but watch the receivers and the tight ends block on this play. They lined up, they went quick. All three guys get solid blocks on the edge of the defense. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire walks into the end zone.
Well, we got the sense, and really after that Arkansas game, these LSU players started talking a lot about Texas A&M, the memory of last year. They thought they had the game won a couple of times. They said, we're not big on revenge. It's about, you know, completing the regular season in the right way. But you sensed all week there is some extra motivation on top of everything else that the Tigers have to play for after what happened in College Station last year. Avery Adkins, the touchback, and once again, here's Holly.
Well, guys, you mentioned that it's senior day here in Tiger Stadium, and a very special entrance. The last player introduced was Joe Burrow, not the B-U-R-R-O-W. He came out with a special nod to the Cajun Creole fan base that have welcomed him so much from Ohio. They went crazy when they saw the way the back of his jersey was spelled. Of course, he has changed back to his jersey on the sideline, the correct spelling, but such a great shout out and a loving gesture from Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers seniors to this fan base.
So here comes the other Texas A&M quarterback who passed for 7,000 plus and rushed for 1,000 or more in his career, the Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel. Deep drop by Mond, floats one out of bounds in the general direction of Courtney Davis, with Kerry Vincent in coverage.
LSU came with pressure from Grant Delpit, who did not play. There's Jimbo Fisher, one of the best play callers. In fact, when we talked to Dave Aranda, he says he is very difficult to prepare for. It's like Dan Mullen, really schemes you up well, shows a lot of stuff to you early. A lot of respect for Jimbo Fisher.
Mond Jr. from San Antonio, Texas. Option look. He takes off running and gets bounced out of bounds shy of the 45. Well, that looks a lot, Todd, like the game we saw a couple of weeks ago when the Ole Miss quarterback John Rice Plumlee ran up and down the field against this Tiger defense, and Jimbo Fisher said, oh yeah, we took notice of what the Rebels did in that game.
And it was outside runs by John Rice Plumlee that really hurt this LSU defense. That was a little different style. Ole Miss did a lot of counter quarterback run. That was just a quarterback sweep with good blocking on the perimeter, but it was getting outside to the edge of the defense.
Isaiah Spiller, true freshman running back. They lost Jashawn Corbin, who would have been their featured back in game 2 of the season at Clemson, and Spiller has emerged nicely in recent weeks.
He's developing. He's going to be a really good one, and they've got to run the football better than they did a week ago. They only had -1 yards total rushing on 20 carries against that very good Georgia defense, and they can't afford to be one-dimensional. They've got to be able to mix in the run enough, and the quarterback run will be a big part of that tonight.
I guess it matters who you're playing. Georgia great up front. The week before, A&M ran for 319 yards against South Carolina. Obviously a much different defense than what the Bulldogs possess. Incomplete pass intended for Jalen Weidermeyer, another true freshman who's become one of their best playmakers.
Now that's a good throw, and that's a catch that Weidermeyer needs to make. Again, they don't have to play a perfect game, but they have to be clean. That's a good throw. It's a chance to get a first down and avoid this 3rd and long, and Weidermeyer just took his eyes off the football.
A&M with a chance to make history tonight, knocking off the #1 team in the AP poll. This is the 3rd team that they've played that was #1 in the country in the AP poll at the time of their meeting. They lost at Clemson, they lost to Alabama. Now they have a shot at #1 in the AP poll, LSU. 3rd down and 8. Mond, deep throw, nobody home.
A little mix-up with Aniyah Smith. Aniyah Smith is a wide receiver that's starting to play more and more. Another true freshman that they're really high on, but that was clearly a miscommunication between he and his quarterback, Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond threw that like a fade, and Anaya Smith was breaking it out on the out route.
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 11. Spot foul, loss of down, 4th down.
So I don't agree with that. You can't call intentional grounding. He got mixed up with his receiver and threw thinking that was going to be a deep route. That's not intentional grounding. He wasn't throwing the football away. He just got confused on the route that his receiver was running. I disagree with that call completely.
Well, we'll bring in Bill LeMonnier when we have a moment. Obviously, Jimbo Fisher agrees with you. Here's Braden Mann. Ray Guy Award winner last year, is the best punter in the country. He's having another excellent year. That one bounds all the way into the end zone. 62-yard punt. Coach Fisher still hot. 7-0 Tigers. Joe Burrow, quick pass to Justin Jefferson. He has a lot of shake and bake, as the coaches told us last night. That's the description Steve Ensminger used, the offensive coordinator, and that was on display as Jefferson weaved ahead for 15.
When they get in these empty sets and they put the tight end and the running back out wide, they want to work inside to Jefferson and Chase. They're both so good with the ball after the catch.
Burrow, that one batted down, intended for Jamar Chase. Devion Renfro broke it up.
It's a physical defensive play that time by Renfro, because Chase is the most physical of the LSU wide receivers, and they were locked up pretty good on the sideline and forced the incompletion.
Both Chase and Jefferson over 1,000 yards receiving for the season. The only other duo on the same team with 1,000 yards receiving was Minnesota Golden Gophers. Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman. After the run fake, a beautiful throw by Burrow. He's now 4 out of 5 as he hit Jamar Chase for 14 more.
Here's a safety coming on the blitz. Joe Burrow sees it's an RPO and throw right behind that safety in the voided area on the slant route.
Edwards-Helaire stacked up, bounces off the pile, and he might have cost himself a yard or two. Valiant effort to try to escape, but the Aggies take him down behind the line. Anthony Hines dropped it for a loss of 2. 2nd and 11. Joe Burrow 4 out of 5 for 69 yards. 2 completions each to Chase and Jefferson.
Helaire goes out wide. They like to work inside.
Burrow flushed out of the pocket by Jaden Peavy and turns it into a first down to the 38 of A&M. 13 yards. Here's Matt Berry in the studio. Wow, what a game that has been.
Would have never thought Alabama could score that many points with Mac Jones against that Auburn defense.
Edwards-Helaire, nifty run to the delight of the crowd. He got 5. And here's a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by PlayStation. As we mentioned, Ohio State jumped over LSU, and the committee said they now look like the more complete team, offense and defense.
Yes.
I think the committee would love to see a really strong performance by the LSU defense.
That's what they want to see, I think. And they'll have 2 good opportunities today against A&M and in the SEC championship game against a highly ranked Georgia team that looks like had more offense today than they've had the last couple weeks.
Aggies bring pressure. Edwards-Helaire runs right by it. Tackled by Leon O'Neal, but it's a first down. 8 yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, junior from right here in Baton Rouge out of Catholic High School.
Great job by Lloyd Cushenberry on that, picking up the blitz.
He's an excellent center. Burrow forced back. Edwards-Helaire gave him a block. Burrow takes off again. When he runs, it's often a first down. 34% of his rushes this season have resulted in first downs, highest percentage in the country.
Such great decision making. We've seen him twice already run and throw. These times 2 on this drive where he's rolled out of the pocket and run. He knows when to run and when not to run.
He hands it off, and Edwards-Helaire gets buried by Justin Matabike, part of that excellent defensive front, particularly in the middle. Matabike along with Bobby Brown, number 5.
Matabike is one of the best players in this league. He is so quick and athletic for a 300-pound guy. His first step is like lightning on the inside. Number 52, here he is right here. Very hard to deal with because of his quickness. Bobby Brown is just a massive human being, the guy lined up next to him, number 5.
Meanwhile, it is over at Auburn, and the Tigers beat Alabama 48-45. Burrow for the back corner of the end zone, incomplete, looking for Terrace Marshall with Charles Oliver in coverage. So we welcome those of you who've been watching that classic Iron Bowl. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe. And Todd, you'd have to think that takes Alabama out of the college football playoff equation with 2 losses.
Absolutely. And you got the tight end and the running back out wide. So the guys they look for right here, Jefferson and Chase on the inside slots. Look for some mesh routes, some cross routes involving those guys.
On 3rd and 10, 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Wide open receiver, Justin Jefferson, a touchdown for LSU. His 10th red zone receiving touchdown, his 13th of the season.
Justin Jefferson is the best route runner of that group, and he just put a beautiful route on his defender to get wide open for the touchdown.
Cade York for the point after. He hooked it, but it is good. So 13 touchdown catches this year for Jefferson. The school record prior to this year for a single season was 12 by Dwayne Bowe. Both Jefferson and Chase have now surpassed that this season. A great start for the Tigers. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Unusually warm night here in Death Valley, last day of November, and it is 75 degrees right now. Right up to the low 80s today here in the capital of Louisiana. They're enjoying what they've seen here so far. Impressive start for LSU. Already 140 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns. And now a single season point total record for LSU. Low throw behind Courtney Davis, but he managed to make the catch, and it's a 13-yard gain. Kellen Mond to Courtney Davis.
Last week in the second half, Kellen Mond really threw the football well against Georgia. They realized they couldn't run. They kind of abandoned their running game. They put the game in Kellen Mond's hands to throw it, and he threw it very well against a very good Georgia defense. I think they're going to have to kind of do that right now. They've got to get some chunk plays out of their passing game.
Mond from San Antonio, played his last year of high school football at IMG Academy in Florida with a lot of other outstanding players. His pass incomplete over the head of Courtney Davis.
Weidemeyer, the tight end, was in on pass protection that time. It got driven right back into the legs of his quarterback that time, and that's why Kellen Mond didn't make a very good throw.
Well, a lot of folks be watching with interest Tuesday night at 7, the latest reveal of the college football playoff top 25. Can't imagine any scenario by which LSU jumps over Ohio State after what Ohio State did today. If the committee thought the Buckeyes were #1 last week, they didn't do anything to change that opinion as they handled Michigan with ease. Mond ahead again for 2. Glenn Logan took him down. We're down to 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
This is the team in Texas A&M that leads the SEC in time of possession, and there's not a lot of teams that care that much about that anymore. And especially in a game like this, you've got to score. You want to possess the ball and keep it away from LSU's offense, but you better find ways to put points on the board at the end of possessions, or you won't be able to catch these guys.
A&M does care about time of possession. They're among the national leaders in that category last year. In Jimbo Fisher's first year in Aggie land, Mond gets buried back inside the 45. Calebon Chason leading the way.
Well, Chason's right here. He's going to run a stunt. See, they cover all the guys, and that makes the line have to block man protection. And Chason comes inside. They lose track of him, and he gets right to the quarterback with the hit on Kellen Mond. Good design on that pressure by Chason.
26th time Mond's been sacked, most in the SEC. It is an ordinary at best offensive line for A&M. That has been a part of their struggles on offense. Braden Mann, another good punt. It'll be downed at the 9-yard line.
Well, we've talked about this LSU pass offense. Used to be so much max protection. Now it's 5 guys out in the route all the time. Last week, you look at Joe Burrow. His first look is to Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the wheel route. He doesn't like what he sees here. So now I want you to watch the second choice. Watch Jefferson's technique. Pause, create separation, and run into that voided area. 5 guys working together. This one out in the field, how they attack downfield. Again, 5 guys out. You got 2 underneath guys to dump it off, but you want to attack downfield and make that one safety. Try to guard 2. Whichever way he goes, he's wrong, and they've been doing that all year. The change in the pass offense and the scheme of their pass offense is unbelievable this year.
Of course, it's been well told they brought in young Joe Brady from the New Orleans Saints to help revamp their passing attack. And that has worked wonders. You have to give Ev Ogeron credit for making that move. There's Brady in the middle of your screen. And
you got to give that guy credit too.
Sure do.
Because
Steve Ensminger, still the offensive coordinator, and he said, I really enjoy working with Joe Brady. He's a fun guy to be around, and obviously he's done a great job.
And I talked to Joe before the game, Brady, and he said, and we were talking just about that, and he said, you know what? I don't know if I was in that position, if I could do it, if I could handle it the way Steve has. He's been unbelievable to work with.
Ensminger told us a couple of weeks ago, as here's Edwards-Helaire for a first down, that he handles most of first and second down. Brady focuses on third down, red zone plays. They've been great in the red zone. It's a partnership that has worked very, very well. Ensminger's not a big ego guy. He told us last year when he was asked to be the offense coordinator, he accepted it reluctantly because he knows when you're in that job, especially with a rabid fan base like they have here, you can get a lot of criticism if it doesn't go well. Right. And he wasn't sure he wanted to put his family through that. Another play fake by Burrow, and a deep strike, and an open receiver. Jamar Chase, another touchdown.
Jamar Chase is just running a deep post, and the safety on his side, Richardson, was peeking on the crossing route and got run by. If you're the deep safety, you have to be the deepest defender, and that time the young freshman made a calculated mistake, and Jamar Chase ran right by him. And again, Joe Burrow does not miss guys. He does not miss open receivers, and if you make a mistake, he's going to find it.
And we talked about his completion percentage, 79% for the year. He's going to set the FBS record. It's not a dink and dunk offense. He throws the ball down the field with great regularity and with great accuracy. This one is a 78-yard touchdown pass. Did I say there wasn't anything LSU could do to convince the committee maybe they should go back over Ohio State? We might have to rethink that. And LSU shining in prime time tonight, dominating A&M. Still a minute 47 to go in the first quarter. 21-0 Tigers. They have 231 yards of offense. Joe Burrow 6 out of 8 for 159 and 2 touchdowns.
He just does not miss very often. You make a mistake, he makes you pay big time for it.
Hard to find something that he doesn't do exceptionally well. Kellen Mond incomplete for Courtney Davis with Kerry Vincent in coverage. Remember, we talked to Jimbo Fisher, who's been around a lot of terrific quarterbacks, coached a lot of the quarterbacks who've gone on to the NFL, won a Heisman. And he said, I don't remember the last time I saw a quarterback who's playing as well in every aspect of the game as Joe Burrow.
Well, and the stuff that Holly was talking about, when you hear NFL people talk about quarterbacks, one of the things they say is how quickly they can process things. And that's what all that leads to. He is a very quick processor of chaotic situations and seeing what he needs to see quickly and capitalizing on it.
On 2nd and 10, against some pressure, Mond got it off. Davis the catch, and Damone Clark the tackle. Well, before the season started, very few people were talking about Joe Burrow in the NFL draft. Todd McShay said maybe not drafted, at best probably a day 3 pick. But now Todd McShay has him as his #1 quarterback and 2nd overall behind Chase Young, the defensive lineman from Ohio State.
He and Tua Tagovailoa are the 2 quarterbacks expected to go the highest, and both of them are very similar in their ability to process, be quick, and be accurate with the football. Very similar in that regard.
Of course, teams are going to have to make a judgment about Tua's health after the hip injury. Mond taken down, back at the 17. Kellen Chase on again.
Well, this time he's just working one-on-one against Dan Moore, the left tackle. There's no stunt, but there's a spin move. Watch him come right into the shoulder and then spin back to the inside with quickness and get Kellen Mond on the ground. And a good start for this LSU defense, pressuring the Aggie quarterback. Kellen Chase has been a great pass rusher in his career. This year, not as much numbers-wise. He's been involved in coverage a lot more, but a very fast start to this one.
Braden Mann punts again. The freshman Derek Stingley lets it bounce as it takes a bounce back toward the punter. And LSU will start with excellent field position. All LSU. End of 1. The Tigers up 21-0. 21-0 LSU leading Texas A&M as we go to the 2nd quarter. Our Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. LSU trying to continue its drive toward a national title. Of course, the SEC championship game comes first next weekend against Georgia in Atlanta. When you're great on first down, as they are for the season entering tonight, 9.6 yards per first down. You're not going to get to 3rd down that often. Burrow on the run, on target, but the ball comes out from Terrace Marshall and ruled incomplete. Miles Jones there to help knock it away.
Again, one of the things, and we can talk about so many different things about Joe Burrow, and he's doing well and has done well all year. I'm just so impressed with how he stays under control when he moves or leaves the pocket and keeps his eyes downfield. And when he decides to run, it's always the right decision, and it's effective. But he's always looking to throw first when he moves out of the pocket.
They bring a blitz. Burrow.
Look at that. Just the movement in the pocket. He thought he was going to have to leave because there was a safety blitz. And then he realized it's picked up. So he didn't have to go anywhere. So he keeps his eyes downfield. They pick up the blitz. He steps up. He steps back. But his eyes stay downfield. And he dumps it off for the nice completion.
To Racy McMath.
Really nice job by Sadiq Charles picking up that pressure from the edge. Who missed the last 2 weeks. Back starting at left tackle. Sat out the last 2 games. They're at full strength now.
This offensive line probably doesn't get enough credit. Ty Davis Price. Looked like he came up just short of the first down on just their 2nd, 3rd down play of the night. They're going to try to go for it quickly on 4th down. Davis Price bursts free. Gets tripped up inside the 20. Keldrick Carper prevented a much bigger gain. It's 10 yards and another first down for LSU.
Outstanding block by Badera Traore, the starter at right tackle, and then that tight end, Thaddeus Moss, who's not caught a pass yet tonight, but has been very instrumental in the run game as a blocker.
A&M substituted late. They managed to stop that play. Davis Price getting some action here. He's a true freshman from right here in Baton Rouge.
You've got Davis Price from Southern Lab High School. You've got Clyde Edwards-Hilaire from Catholic High School, both from here in Baton Rouge. Jimbo Fisher tell us when he was coaching, he said There's always defensive linemen. There's always running backs in the state of Louisiana. If you're recruiting here, there's tons of them.
And wide receivers as well. Yep. Bill Fisher was the offensive coordinator at LSU for 7 seasons under Nick Saban. Said it was a phenomenal experience. And there's a touchdown for Davis Price. 4 possessions and 4 touchdowns for LSU.
Really nice block by big Ed Ingram. Watch him working on Bobby Brown right here. This is a massive human being. He's blocking. He stands him up and just holds him out of the hole. And Davis Price runs right inside him for the touchdown.
6th rushing touchdown of his freshman season for Ty Davis Price. Cade York. It's 28-0. Well, Aggie fans haven't been able to put that cheer practice to use tonight. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Texas A&M down 28-0 here at Death Valley against LSU. LSU has outgained them 285-18.
Yep. Perfect game for Ed Orgeron's team. They've got the offense what they've had and defense playing lights out so far.
You made the point during our commercial break a moment ago. Joe Burrow has more yards rushing in this game than Texas A&M has total offense as a team.
Yeah, 38-28. A&M needs to get something going desperately here, and it's got to come from Kellen Mond, but they got to protect him first.
Isaiah Spiller ahead for a couple.
Jamon Osborne, a big game last week, 9 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown in the loss in Athens to Georgia, but he's a guy that they need to kind of get going here in the football game.
They have 2 completions. Both have gone to Courtney Davis. Everybody we talked to with Texas A&M last night, players and coaches, felt like perhaps they found something in the second half last week at Georgia, and they made a game of it against the Dogs, but whatever they found was lost somewhere on the trip here to Baton Rouge. Jalen Weidermeyer taken down at the 31. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Good thing for LSU defensively. One of their best players back, has battled an ankle injury most of the year. Grant Delpit, one of the best safeties when he's healthy in all of college football, has had to battle through a lot of stuff this year. Did not play last week, took the week off to a pretty good start tonight so far. They move him around a lot. He plays all over. He's up in the box this time, on the slot. He'll play deep safety. Very active guy in this defense.
They come after Mond. He's in full retreat and just throws it away. Incomplete.
Well, Marcel Brooks, here he is, number 9, just going to come off the edge, just a speed rusher. Now, this guy is one of the fastest guys on the team. Actually, Kellen Mond kind of took himself into that pressure. The right tackle didn't know where his quarterback was going to be, and Brooks was able to just kind of corral him. If Kellen Mond stays inside of that block, he's not going to get flushed. I say that because my dad was an offensive line coach, and he says, don't always blame the offensive line. Sometimes the quarterback doesn't help his offensive lineman out either.
So here's Braden Mann, averaging 49.3 on his 3 punts tonight. His career average is 49.2 in 2 seasons as the A&M punter. Derek Stingley, fair catch, 15-yard line, 54-yard kick. Already up 28-0. Burrow fires on target. Jamar Chase tackled from behind by Miles Jones out of the 36. They convert on 3rd and long with a 25-yarder.
Well, A&M tried to rush 3 and drop 8 to no avail. Joe Burrow just waited, and he waited for Chase to come into that deep dig route, and they got it for the 1st down.
Burrow Finally heaves it to the near sideline, almost completed it. Looked like a throwaway, but Stephen Sullivan, Stephon Sullivan, tried to rescue it along the near sideline.
Roughing the passer, number 92 on the defense, blow to the head, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Jaden Peavy is the guy. Again, Joe Burrow is running all over the place. Those big defensive linemen. He didn't knock him down, but he hit him in the head. I think that was his forearm that hit him in the head. You just can't go up that high and hit the quarterback there. So good call. Doesn't it look like that guy is offsides right there?
Edwards-Helaire. Nice cut back to the inside. Read the block beautifully. Gets banged out of bounds. Very close to another first down.
Yeah, I think he's the secret weapon of this team. I mean, Burrow's great. The wide receivers are NFL caliber. Moss is a talented tight end. This guy's the secret weapon because he has an NFL skill set playing in college football. Runner, receiver, blocker, does it all.
He picks up the first down. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we talk about awards. He is one of the 4 finalists for the Paul Hornung Award, the most versatile player in college football. You mentioned he was one of the 10 semifinalists for the Doak Walker Award as the best running back in the country. Gone over 1,000 yards rushing for the year. 13th player in LSU history to rush for 1,000 in a season.
As teams have gone to more zone defense against this passing game, he's become more of a weapon. He only had 12 catches the first 7 games, but he had 27 catches in the last 4 games coming into tonight. Very much more involved in the pass game.
Edwards-Helaire ducks down at the 32.
Well, Todd, you talked about the improvement of Clyde Edwards-Helaire's hands. There's a good reason. He can take apart a car and build it back with those hands, but more importantly, he took his running back coach, Tommy Robinson, frog hunting. He goes often. He knows how to catch the frog where you keep your hands open. The frog jumps in and you quickly close it. So this is a guy, when you talk about versatility, I bet you didn't know he can put a car together and he can also catch a frog. Now, those are some versatile hands.
Now, I've been frog hunting, but I went with a gig where you gig the frog. Never tried to grab a frog. That's pretty skillful.
Gig him. Deep throw out of the back of the end zone, incomplete. For those who don't know, what's a gig and why were you frog hunting?
A gig is kind of like a spear that you shine a light on the bank and the frog is blinded and you just come up on the boat and you gig him, then you throw him in the back. But it sounds like Clyde does it a little bit more challenging way of just reaching out and grabbing them. But you eat them. Frog legs, they're good.
Okay, you're just not out there to
no, you get them to eat.
Frogs all over the country.
No.
Thank goodness. 3rd down and 8. All of a sudden, some 3rd down plays for LSU. Burrow for the end zone. Intended for Jamar Chase. Devion Renfro in coverage.
Oh, we saw good physical corner play by Miles Jones. This is Renfro on the other side. Stride for stride with Chase. Some hand fighting. They're allowing both guys to push. And Burrow not able to drop it in the bucket. And when you got a corner who's 6'2", 6'3", and long, you got to throw the ball over them to get to your receiver, and that's pretty tough to do.
There's Cade York. Had a very nice freshman season. He's from McKinney, Texas. 16 out of 19 in field goals. He's made his last 3, 9 of his last 10. This is from 51. And that is good. Just a yard shy of his career long. He made a 52-yarder at Ole Miss. Breezy night, so Avery Atkins will use a holder for this kickoff. Boy, does he have a big leg.
The one thing that you cannot ever doubt about Kellen Mond is he is a tough dude. He has taken a lot of hits this year, throws his body around. He's a big kid, 6'3", 217 pounds, but he's pretty fearless too.
They bring pressure, batted out of the air by Christian Fulton, one of the LSU cornerbacks.
Christian Fulton is playing with so much more confidence at this point in the year. He had a rough night against Texas. And Dave Aranda said he was a kind of a sensitive guy, and it really kind of went in the tank a little bit. He was really bummed out about how he played in that Texas game. But he's come out of it, he's bounced back, and he's playing with a lot more confidence. He has elite quickness and anticipation, and now he's got his confidence back as well.
Another of the 14 seniors honored before the game, playing in their final home game and going out with a bang as we approach halftime. Mond under pressure just heaved it up. Hendrick Rogers hoping for a flag. Derek Stingley had the coverage.
See, this is the thing about Kellen Mond. This has been what's happened to him all season. He's going to leave the pocket. We've seen Joe Burrow leave the pocket. We saw the penalty in the first time he left the pocket. But these are the kind of hits that Kellen Mond has taken all year. Gets rid of the ball, hit on the ground, and those, they take their toll. They take their toll on you in a game and over the course of a season as well.
Well, they lost Eric McCoy, their center, to the NFL. He was a second-round pick of the Saints, having an excellent rookie year. And that was a big loss from the offensive line of a year ago. This offensive line is not as good for A&M. Mond almost intercepted as Grant Delpit stepped in front of the receiver, Jalen Weidermeyer, and almost picked it off.
The right guard, Kenyon Green, just got run over, and that's why Kellen Mond was not able to get much on the play. Watch right here. I think that's Rashard Lawrence just pushes the right guard right back into the lap of the quarterback, and that's why he wasn't very accurate with the throw. Big bull rush by number 90, and that ball almost intercepted.
The 6th punt of the half for Braden Mann.
Utter domination. I mean, LSU has not had a half of football, I don't know, especially against a high level or a conference opponent. This might be the best half of football that they've played, both sides of the ball.
And the punt takes us to the half. 324 yards for LSU, 40 for Texas A&M. 31-0 Tigers. Let's send you to the studio. Time now for the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. All Tigers leading Texas A&M 31-0 as we go to the second half here in Baton Rouge, with Avery Atkins kicking off. And it's another touchback. And we welcome you back to Death Valley. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge. Delighted to have you with us. We talked during the first half. Undoubtedly, the College Football Playoff Ranking Committee moved Ohio State ahead of LSU last week because the LSU defense hasn't been all that great. They've been great tonight.
Absolutely. First 30 minutes, I don't know that Dave Aranda, Ed Orgeron could ask for anything more. Held A&M to 40 yards of total offense. Made life miserable for Kellen Mond. I mean, he was 5 of 14. They sacked him 3 times. Consistent pressure. Now the question, can they put another 30-minute performance like that on top of this to change the perception of this LSU defense a little bit?
And the ESPN app. Here's an interception by Grant Delpit, bringing it back down the sideline. Flags are thrown. Delpit got flattened by Carson Green, the right tackle. But if it stands, it's the 8th career interception for Grant Delpit, and the 2nd of his junior year, a 27-yard return.
Well, we talked about they move Delpit around. They'll play him in the box. They'll play him in the slot. They'll rush him. This time he was the deep middle safety, and he just read the eyes of Kellen Mond. Here he is right here. He's going to play the deep middle and watch him just lock eyes on the quarterback, Kellen Mond.
The field is an interception. The previous play is under further review.
Not a very well thrown ball by Kellen Mond. Just kind of threw it in the middle of the defense. And Grant Delpit right there. Was his knee down? Is that where they marked the football? I think he kind of kept it off the ground. I don't know. They're taking a look at it. Nice play by Delpit, who missed last week with the ankle injury.
Yeah. I think his left knee went down.
Knee went down. Yep.
But the player was down at the 40-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 9:28. 9:28, please.
And we talked about LSU getting jumped in the rankings this week by Ohio State, after LSU had done the same thing to Ohio State a couple of weeks ago. I think there were 2 reasons why. I think you agree with this. Number one, the committee thinks at least prior to today, Ohio State's clearly the better defensive
More
team.
complete team, yes.
And I don't think LSU, I don't think Ohio State had the signature wins that LSU had. LSU had 4 wins against teams that were in the top 10 in the country when they played them.
Right.
Some of those don't look quite as good, particularly the Texas win now that they've fallen out of the top 25. And I think the committee was waiting for Ohio State to have a really good win, as they got last week against Penn State.
Yep, I agree. However, LSU will have a better opportunity next week in the SEC championship game against a highly regarded and top 4 Georgia team.
Well, and let's not even wait that long as Edward Zelaire runs for another first down. Keldrick Carpenter made the tackle. If you're the committee, you said, okay, our concern was the LSU defense.
Right.
They're pitching a shutout against the 7-win team in the SEC. They're being dominant. Yeah, Ohio State was great today. They beat Michigan. But if the defensive concerns are put to rest, I go back to LSU has the better resume.
Yeah.
They have more impressive quality wins. You love stop rate.
I do.
Explain stop rate.
Stop rate is a defensive metric that just measures how many times you end a possession defensively with a turnover on downs or a kick, a punt. You get a stop. And you look at Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia, the 1, 2, 3 in stop rate. LSU at 23 is not that terrible, but just not the same. But tonight playing at a different level defensively.
Low snap to Burrow, and that threw the whole playoff, and he got dropped by Devin Morris, who was coming on a blitz anyway. And we talk about the resumes. With Texas out of the top 25, LSU now just 3 wins against teams that are in the college football top 25 now. Ohio State actually has 4, so you could make the argument Ohio State has the better resume. Well, I don't know. When you win at Texas, you beat Florida, Auburn, and Alabama. I mean, they've beaten everybody. LSU has scored at least 42 points in every game this year except Auburn, and of course not yet there tonight with 31. Their offense got a little stagnant tonight after the big start. Burrow, what a play, and the catch was not made by Thaddeus Moss.
You know, at the end of the first half, after not being able to slow down this offense at all, and then here in the third quarter, Mike Elko's defense, a little more consistent pressure on Joe Burrow. They're taking some chances. They're bringing some extra bodies. And they've made the quarterback, Joe Burrow, more uncomfortable than he was at any point in the first quarter and a half of the football game.
Cade York to try another long field goal. This will be a 50-yarder. He made a 51-yarder in the second quarter. And Buddy Johnson, the leading tackle for him, told us yesterday that Mike Elko, the defense coordinator, is super intelligent. He said he makes amazing halftime adjustments, so maybe he made some that have paid off tonight. Another good night for the freshman kicker, Cade York. Couple tonight made from 50 plus, and it's 34-0. Both schools band here tonight, 2 of the best bands in the country. Cheerleaders great as well.
Yes, it's a special place.
It really is. I have not been to a game here in many years, and this is as great a venue as there is in college football. Certainly as loud.
Especially when you got an undefeated football team.
Another touchback for Avery Atkins, but Russell Wilson not far behind. Isaiah Spiller trying to find some running room, and he gets 6 on first down. On the LSU side, Marcus Allen on the left. There's no way he's 59 years old. And John Robinson, the Hall of Fame coach at USC, who is now a consultant to Ed Orgeron here at LSU.
Yeah, it's really a neat story. I mean, they met when Coach O was the interim coach at USC, because he had to go speak to booster club meetings on Mondays, and he would ride back and forth with Coach Robinson, and they developed a nice friendship. Finish the story after this play.
Isaiah Spiller swung down by Patrick Queen, short of the first down.
John Robinson's wife, Beverly, is from New Orleans and went to LSU, and a little while ago he called Coach O and said, you know, my wife wants to move back to this part of the country, and we're thinking about moving to New Orleans. And Ed said, well, Coach, if you move to Baton Rouge, I'll make a place for you on my staff. And that's what he did. And he's on the staff. He goes into the office every day. I talked to him on the field before the game. I said, do you still watch film? He says, oh, yeah, I watch a ton of film. I just can't remember as well the next day what I saw. But I still watch and give my 2 cents worth.
Well, he said Marcus looks great for 59, and he does. And John Robinson looks pretty darn good for 84 as well. Isaiah Spiller with the biggest play of the night for the Aggies. And their deepest penetration as he goes out of bounds at the LSU 21 with a gain of 46.
Yeah, nice concept. They brought crossing routes and released the back out of the backfield. Here's Spiller, and as he leaves, none of these linebackers are going to pick him up. They get caught up on the crossing routes. Nobody goes with the back. It looks like Jacoby Stevens, number 3, might have been responsible in coverage, but was way out of position. And the deepest penetration now for the Aggie offense.
Low throw. Jamon Osborne the catch. And their leading receiver has his first catch of the night, good for 6 yards. John Robinson had a great compliment of Ed Orgeron. He said, he reminds me of John Madden. John Robinson first met John Madden when he was in the 3rd grade. He's known him, they're very close the whole life. He said, a lot of people underestimate John Madden when they first meet him.
Yeah.
They don't realize how intelligent he is till they spend more time around him. Both have a great way with people. Coach Robinson says a lot of appreciation for the way Orgeron runs a team. Tough run by Spiller, almost got them to the end zone. And John said he told the USC people he thought they should have given Ed Orgeron the head coaching job after he was 6-2 as the interim coach there in 2013. First and goal from inside the 1. Kagan Baldry, the fullback, former offensive lineman, leads the way for Isaiah Spiller. And an A&M touchdown, their first score of the game, with 4:13 to go in the 3rd.
Well, you mentioned Baldry, great lead block on this play. This is just power football. Watch 43 lead right up in here, and Spiller, who's a big back himself at 220 pounds, just gets right on his hip, follows him into the end zone. So a good scoring drive, the first of the night for Texas A&M.
In the first 8 possessions, a combined 35 yards of offense for the Aggies. They went 75 yards for their first score of the night. Seth Small added the extra point. 34-7 LSU in Baton Rouge. Here in Baton Rouge, LSU leading Texas A&M 34-7 in the 3rd quarter as we continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week. LSU trying to complete an undefeated, untied regular season. Of course, you can't be tied anymore. We found out the hard way in College Station last year when these 2 teams played 7 overtimes.
John Stinchcomb was the analyst for that game. I wonder if he went into different impersonations during each overtime period. He's one of the best.
He does a great imitation of you.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the kickoff return, and good coverage by the Aggies. They stop him at the 15.
Should correct myself. That was Matt Stinchcomb, his brother John. Matt was the analyst. I'll clear that up so he doesn't hammer me with the impersonation next year at the seminar.
Justin Jefferson gets just more than 10 and a first down, taken across the sideline by Charles Oliver. Well, Joe Burrow still in there with a 27-point lead and under 4 minutes to go. I think had A&M not scored on the last possession, maybe he would have gotten the hook. And of course, there is still one big record to try to achieve tonight. There's 43 touchdown passes, one more to tie Drew Lock for the SEC single season record. Jamar Chase staggers across the 45-yard line to the 46, a pickup of 20.
Great job of just sidestepping Buddy Johnson. Buddy Johnson was blitzing. He was spying the quarterback, had a clean shot, and Joe Burrow just stopped, froze Johnson for a minute, was able to get rid of the football to the crossing route. Has excellent pocket presence. I mean, nothing flusters him. Even when he gives up a sack, I mean, he just comes back the next play.
One more completion for Burrow would be 20 in the game. That would be 15 straight games with 20 completions. There it is. And it's a big one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire inside the 30.
See, this is a mismatch. This is Clyde Edwards-Helaire against Anthony Hines, a linebacker. There's no linebacker in the SEC, maybe in the country, that's going to cover him coming out of the backfield. It's a little option route. He puts his foot in the ground and breaks back inside, and that's a mismatch for this LSU offense.
Edwards-Helaire stopped. You know, we mentioned 15 straight games now with 20 completions or more. The school record that he broke was set by Tommy Hodson in 1987. He had 3 straight games of 20 completions. Right. So he pretty well shattered that record. It's the longest active such streak in the country.
Again, this is just such a different LSU offense. They've always been a heavy max protection. They've had great wideouts that they said, you just go beat coverage. Now they manipulate coverage with 5-man routes.
Nice catch by Edwards-Helaire. We talked to Mike Elko, the defensive coordinator, last night. He said you really need to take away the throws to Edwards-Helaire. And Burrow and Clyde are starting to find a little rhythm there.
That's 2 in a row. They get him matched up on the linebacker, Anthony Hines. And again, he's too hard to cover. He's quick, he's elusive, and he catches everything thrown his way.
He has 4 catches for 49 yards. Burrow throws, and it should have been intercepted, trying to jam it into Thaddeus Moss, and Leon O'Neal got in the way.
Yeah, Leon O'Neal made a really nice play on the football. Sophomore safety out of Cypress, Texas. He's going to undercut this route. Comes in front of Moss. Moss gets a little tangled up and loses his footwork a little bit out. I see why. Leon O'Neal grabbed him by behind and kind of stopped his movement, and then shot in front of him to get the football.
That could have been flagged.
Yeah.
And usually when it's an errant throw by Burrow, there's some other explanation.
Correct.
Other than he just misfired. They bring a blitz. Is this the record tire? Flag down. It's a touchdown for Jamar Chase. And if it stands, it's the 44th touchdown pass of the season for Jimmy Burrow's son Joe to tie the SEC record.
That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
They put him in the slot, so when he runs this slot fade, he has so much room for Joe Burrow to put the football outside, away from the defender to the outside shoulder. When you run that from the slot, boy, you got a lot of room as a quarterback, and Joe Burrow now ties the record for the most touchdown passes in SEC history.
Drew Lock threw 44 for Mizzou in 2017. And now Burrow has thrown 44 for LSU. Extra point good by Cade York. He's also made history tonight with 2 50-yard field goals. First time LSU's ever had 2 50-yard field goals in the same game. But here's the big record-setting accomplishment. I think Mr. Burrow knew it. We welcome you back to Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Number 2 LSU leading Texas A&M 41-7. Jamar Chase with his 7th catch of the night, his 2nd touchdown. He has 197 yards receiving. Perhaps inching closer to winning the Bolitnikoff Award, for which he's one of the 3 finalists, along with CeeDee Lamb of Oklahoma and Michael Pittman Jr. of USC.
To me, this is a great opportunity after that kind of a momentum play to go play action and take a deep shot down the field.
Low snap. Mond. Couldn't find anyone to throw it to, and he threw it away.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
With the score 41-7 in favor of LSU. You're watching College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton by Hilton. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. It's a big party tonight here at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. These LSU fans, sellout crowd of more than 102,000. Secure in the knowledge that their team is about to finish a perfect regular season at 12-0. Leading 41-7 as the fourth quarter begins. Isaiah Spiller for Texas A&M. Good run. And a first down just across the line to make. Glenn Logan made the tackle.
Well, now 140 total yards of offense for Texas A&M, and we're just starting the fourth quarter. That was the best run for Spiller, and they just could not run at all last week at Georgia. 68 yards on the ground now tonight.
Miller's had a very nice true freshman season. Only Travion Williams had more rushing yards as a true freshman than Spiller has had this year. Mond slides down, trying to duck under a hit from Kaylavon Chason. Spiller's rushed for 848 now in his freshman season. He just passed Mike Goodson for second highest single season rushing total by a true freshman at Texas A&M. He's not going to catch Travion Williams, at least not tonight.
In this part of the game, is the game in hand? Yes, but what LSU is fighting and what they're battling in terms of the perception of their defense, these are important plays.
They're in attack mode all out here. Patrick Queen came on the blitz. Mond threw it away, and now the officials are talking about whether that should be intentional grounding.
Well, the question's going to be is if the ball didn't get across the line of scrimmage. I think he might have gotten outside of the tackle box.
On the offense, number 11. Spot foul, loss of down, third down.
You know, if you're gonna throw it away, you've got to get outside the tackle box.
36.
And the ball has to cross the line of scrimmage. I think he got outside the tackle box. I don't think the ball got past the line of scrimmage.
So the ball comes back to the 36.
But
they are coming after Mond with great regularity.
Well, again, I think Dave Aranda, I think they want to put an exclamation point on this football game from their side of the field.
Well, it has been mystifying because it certainly seems like there's a lot of talent on this defense. They just haven't played up to it. Deep throw. Kendrick Rogers now with a flag down. He was trying to make a one-handed catch.
I don't know if that's a flag or just something blowing across the field.
Well, that could be because it is a very breezy evening here at Tiger Stadium. There is no flag, although Rogers thought there should have been one.
Stingley was in coverage, and Delpit was the safety coming over to help, but Delpit took a bad angle. And that ball almost was caught because Delpit was a little too shallow on his help angle coming from the safety position. Fourth and very long right now. You're thinking zone defense here. Make A&M catch the ball in front of you and make a tackle in space.
Mond just lobbing up a Hail Mary, and Jacoby Stevens has it.
Now, that's all Kellen Mond could do there. He got flushed out of the pocket. You throw it up to the end zone to see if you can make a play. Nothing there.
And not to quibble with Jacoby Stevens, but if he bats it down, they get about 20 additional yards of field position. He said Sean. I feel very offended. Pass out in the flat to Derek Dillon. And I agree with you. They were number 6, as we saw in the graphic this week in the college football playoff. Alabama number 5 lost. Utah's going to move up to 5. Can't imagine they'll move into the top 4.
Hey.
We'll finish this in a moment, but this timeout might be to get Joe Burrow out of the game. And it is.
That's a 30-second timeout.
Two years for him here at LSU. Last year, certainly more than respectable. Started every game, led them to a 10-3 season. But this year, spectacular. One of the greatest, as we chronicled all night, in the history of the SEC, and really one of the greatest in the history of college football. And another Heisman-enhancing night statistically for Joe Burrow.
And a great leader. I mean, a leader of men. He really is. I mean, Holly and I ran into him in the football building the other day. He was walking. He had a script and a pencil. He looked like a coach, a GA, just kind of going through the script. What a magical season for the guy.
So the son of a coach, Jimmy Burrow, coached for 40 years. After a fine playing career in Nebraska, played in the CFL for a while. And how proud he must be. Also off the field, graduated from Ohio State in 3 years. But here are the numbers. All of them conference records. In the case of the 44 touchdown passes, tied. There have been a lot of really good quarterbacks who have played in this conference. Some great quarterbacks. Of course, football's changed a lot. It's become much more pass happy than it was in yesteryear. Derek Dillon catches the pass from Miles Brennan. And here's Holly.
As Joe Burrow takes his bow here in Tiger Stadium, we did talk to him about the Heisman Trophy. Many people think it is his to lose. He had the perfect comment. It is all about the rings on my fingers. The Heisman would be great, but I'm about those rings. It is a championship mindset for Joe Burrow. Make no mistake.
First one opportunity is next week in Atlanta against the Georgia Bulldogs for an SEC championship ring, and then one bigger that would be crowned in New Orleans a few weeks after that, if they can make it there.
And I know he's not at all concerned with his NFL future. He went from a guy who, before the season started, might not have been drafted in the opinion of many of the draft experts, to a guy who could very well be the #1 overall pick. I think if the Cincinnati Bengals, who need a quarterback, have the first pick, how do you not take this guy? From Ohio, grew up in the Plains, Ohio, right by Athens, where his dad coached at Ohio U. Now Chase Young would be great as well. There's Racey McMath racing off to the races and into the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, you wonder, is this salt in the wounds? Is this still feelings of the 7 overtime game a year ago, or is it just trying to get Miles Brennan some game action throws? I think a little bit of all of it.
They like Miles Brennan. He was a top recruit out of Long Beach, Mississippi. That touchdown pass is his first of the season. Playing in his 8th game, including each of the last 3 with the big leads. He got in against Ole Miss and Arkansas, and now tonight. And Racey McMath, the junior from New Orleans, has his 3rd touchdown of the season.
What a perfect name for a wide receiver, Racey McMath. I don't see that McMath having anything to do with wide receiving or running or anything, but Racey, yes.
Gave York the extra point. So that's 42 points or more in every game this season for LSU except the 23 in their win against Auburn. And everybody's involved in the party tonight here in Baton Rouge. But if you said Auburn would give up 45 points and win, and who would have thought that would happen? You would have thought that the defense, outstanding all year, would perhaps shut down the Alabama offense without Tua.
Exactly.
Atkins, his 9th touchback of the game. Every kickoff has been a touchback. You're watching the SEC on ESPN in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Kellen Mond's night is over. And a rough one, 10 for 30 for 92 yards, no touchdowns, a career high 3 interceptions. James Foster, a redshirt freshman from Montgomery, Alabama, has taken his place. And he inherits a deep hole here. They started from the 1-yard line. Cordarian Richardson is in at running back, sophomore. Under 4 minutes to go. LSU about to complete a perfect regular season at 12-0. Trouble in the end zone. Foster trying to get rid of it. And I believe the referee is saying he went out of the back of the end zone or stepped on the back line.
Rolling on the field is a
would have been grounding in the end zone anyway.
And a safety.
I know you want to change quarterback, but that was a very tough spot to put Foster in, appearing in just his fourth game of the season now.
And he dropped the snap, his knees down. That's a safety. So even before he threw the football, his knee was down. Lost his concentration on the snap, and you're right, probably some serious nerves in that situation, with Tigers bearing down on him, and LSU putting a stamp on this one.
Here's Holly.
Well, guys, just before that safety, Ed Orgeron had gotten some of his defensive players together and told him to quit screwing around. With 4 minutes left in the game, he could sense that guys were celebrating too much, hanging around on the sideline, and he wanted them locked in and focused. He also didn't want anything bad to happen. No penalties. Obviously aware of what happened with Georgia earlier today with the player getting ejected who'll have to miss the first half of the SEC championship game next week. Credit good coaching there. Orgeron got him fired up.
Yeah, that's that thing with George Pickens today was ugly. And if he only misses half the game next week, he's fortunate, because that, I wouldn't have been surprised if that would have even been a whole game suspension.
Well, they take a knee, and LSU will finish the regular season at a perfect 12-0. They're number 1 in the AP poll, number 2 in the college football playoff rankings, with the next iteration to come out Tuesday night. An impressive performance all the way around. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, on senior night, you got focused for the full game. How do you describe the way this team came out here tonight?
Our best game all year. We felt that we had a tremendous week of practice. I'm so proud of the seniors, so proud of our coaching staff, but we're not done yet.
You took Joe Burrow out and let him have an ovation from the crowd. What did you think as you saw your quarterback walk off the field for the last time here in Death Valley?
Very proud. Just proud of our people from Louisiana for welcoming Joe. Joe's brought so much to our program. We're very grateful for Joe Burrow.
Thank you, Coach.
Go Tigers.
13 straight wins, only Clemson and Ohio State with longer active streaks. 13-0 in 2011, 10-0 in 1958, 9-0-1 in 36. The only other undefeated regular seasons for LSU during the AP poll era. Let's send you to Tempe now for Arizona and Arizona State.